Phone scams are a multi-billion-dollar business, and I did say billion with a B. So far this year, over 59 million Americans have lost over $30 billion to phone scams. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to two guys who are on the front lines battling criminals who rip off unwary consumers. And these gents, they run a YouTube channel called Scammer Jammer, where they use a technique called scam baiting. And it's a form of internet vigilantism that's used primarily towards scammers who practice consumer financial fraud. Now, if you've been a victim, if you've ever been a victim of financial fraud, or maybe you know someone who has, you're going to want to watch this video because you're about to learn how scammers are able to get into your wallet. And you're also going to learn how you can prevent it. That's all up next right here on Over 50 TV. Welcome back to Over 50 TV, where we provide essential career and money tips for people over 50. My name is Lou Reyes. Well, today I'm going to introduce you to two gents who run a YouTube channel, and that channel is called Scammer Jammer. Now, I interviewed them earlier this week, and I learned some very valuable financial tips. I learned how financial scammers work, and I learned how people like you and me can prevent a scammer from stealing our money. Now, to protect their identity, I'm not using their real names. So now, my friends, I'm going to introduce you to Iron and Hammer.
Well, thanks for having us. Scams, the phone scams, email scams, phishing scams, they're all over there. My name is Iron, and Hammer, if you want to say hello too.
Hello, how is everybody? We hope to educate people, so
tell us a little bit, Iron or Hammer, tell us how you guys decided to kind of, ride the white horse and come into the fray.
So I have an interesting story in my day job in another life. I worked for an online payment service provider, a payment servicer, and I would get inbound phone calls that would say, I gave my Google Play card to the representative and my account is still locked. And I was getting about 10 of them a day. This is about 2 years ago. And for the first week, I didn't understand what was happening. And ironically, Iron, in a different conversation we were having, said, hey, you have to watch this guy on the internet. He does what is called scam baiting. And I started watching his videos, and the same thing, it was these Google Play card scammers. And I said, oh my goodness, that's what's happening at my job. I'm getting these inbound calls from these victims. So I really started looking into it, and I found out that unfortunately, there are call centers that are in India mostly that are using a lot of sophisticated technology to blast Americans with phone calls, text messages, and emails that tell you either your social security number will be suspended, you're under suspicion, or that your account is locked, or there's suspicious activity, or someone has purchased an iPhone on your Amazon account and you need to call them. Yeah. Once you call them, you are talking to a scammer in India who will take as much money as they possibly can. So then we both decided to create this channel, Scammer Jammer, and try to waste their time because, as you said, the network operators are not shutting down these foreign call scam centers.
So tell me and the Over 50 TV audience how Iron and Hammer battle financial scammers.
We put them through different scenarios, make them uncomfortable, awkward positions, whatever it is, just to try to mess with them and waste their time. But some of the things that we go through, in my mind, as we're on the call, I'm thinking, how is this person still on the phone right now? And all they continue to do is just look at trying to get their money, trying to get gift cards, trying to get your banking information, whatever it might be. Their sole goal is focused on one thing, that everything else that we do, they just don't comprehend it. They don't listen to it. They don't pay attention to it, or they do, and they get really frustrated and really annoyed. And that's, part of the whole thing. But yeah, they're so focused, laser focused on trying to get these gift cards, or just to try to get money in some way, shape, or form.
So let me ask you a question that I think is probably on a lot of people's mind is how do these scammers get your phone number?
The biggest problem is either receiving a phone call. You get a voicemail that says, call us back right away, legal action, they use scare tactics, or, Amazon iPhone purchase. The other, emails and texts are another problem. But the biggest problem is when people actually need to call customer service for an online company and they are Googling the phone number. You should always go on the website of the company that you are trying to call. And what I mean by that is in your address bar, you need to check that it says www.amazon, www.paypal. You never want to Google a phone number because that was the biggest problem with victims that I was talking to. They said, well, I Googled the customer service number and those numbers are not real. They're calling scammers. So that's how to protect yourself.
Going back to with the types of calls that you can get, one also is just a robocall. So they could have your number just randomly from a call list anywhere that they got it from. And so they're just trying to put out as many calls as they can. And if you put out 1 million calls and you get 100 calls back and 5 of them end up being successful scams, if you do 5 times the 509 that you said, that's $2,500 that they made. And all they did was just robocall and blanket call these people. Then also there's a little bit more into that where you could have given your number to a sweepstakes or your number got leaked somehow through some of these security issues and sold. And then those lists get compiled and then they get sold and resold and added to. And these scammers, they will purchase those lists. And then that's the way where they'll call up particular people and have their name. So there's added layers on top of how they're also getting numbers and calling people. But the majority of them are people Googling accidentally and also these robocalls where people are calling back.
So I guess the final question I really have is how do you stop this? I mean, I know you can block calls if you know it, but is there a way to stop this?
Just hang up.
Be aware.
Just hang up. I tell everyone that, and there's nothing wrong with this. If most people have a good sense that something's wrong, but they're ignoring their gut instinct because unfortunately these criminals are professional criminals. They're very practiced. Most of them are very practiced at manipulating people and using scare tactics. So I tell people, trust your gut instinct. If you think something's wrong, just hang up the phone.
Well, I also think that if somebody has a question or if they have a comment, it would help them if they watch Scammer Jammer and even could message you guys and ask you a question or two. I don't want to necessarily put that out there. I guess I just
happy to help.
But I mean, I'm sure that would be appreciated from both you guys. Well, listen, I want to really thank you. This is an interesting story. And I think it's something that more people should be aware of. So thank you very much for coming on, and I appreciate it, and keep up the great work, you two.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us.